Hey everybody, Jake Reichbart here. Today I'm going to share with you a lengthy lesson excerpt. So have your guitars ready and we're going to have some fun together arranging a song. Perhaps you've seen some of my many hundreds of solo guitar arrangements I have here on YouTube, and the inspiration for these arrangements is right here behind me, as you can see. I grew up with these vinyls, and I draw pretty much from any kind of style imaginable from the pop music of the past 100 years, everything from Glenn Miller to Van Halen, Alan Holdsworth to Motown, and pretty much anything in between. Beatles, I have perhaps 25 Beatles song arrangements, 20 Steely Dan song arrangements, same for Stevie Wonder, rock, hard rock, Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, and of course tons and tons of classic jazz standards from the 40s and 50s, bebop, dance tunes, movie themes. And if you want to learn how to arrange any of these songs for solo guitar, I can teach you. Just like the excerpt that you're about to watch, which comes from a lesson that runs about 90 minutes, I have nearly 200 additional titles, and they are mostly song specific. I enjoy teaching through specific songs because I can show you hands-on how I approach arranging a song. What's nice about these lessons is that I don't just tell you, do this and you're done, but rather I'll take you through 3 or 4 or 5 different ways to play the same passage. I'll work with you on dynamics, on articulation, and 100 other things that you cannot just put to paper. As I mentioned, these lessons run approximately 90 minutes. The introduction, which runs usually 15 minutes, focuses on the right hand and rhythm, and in this introduction I go through my 3 pillars of rhythmic arranging, the first principle being melody and bass only, the second being rhythmic arpeggiation, and the third, of course, the down stroke that I play with my right hand fingernails to produce that backbeat that everybody asks me about. Nevertheless, I do have 2 main method lessons. The first one, how to arrange any song for solo guitar, running 2 hours, and also an introduction to fingerstyle guitar and solo guitar arranging, running 2 hours and 40 minutes. The information about these lessons, the cost, my full lesson list, as well as a link to the full performance of the song that we're working on today is below in the information. So expand the information, take a look, and let's get started. As I've alluded to, I kind of made this arrangement my own, and even if the original has unique and specific bass lines, I kind of made up my own. And it follows then that the many other chord positions, ways to interpret the melody, same thing. So the number of combinations you can play this tune in, if you multiply all the different variations, is astronomical. So we got to start somewhere. So it occurs to me that one place to start is to simply show a variety of possible bass lines. We said that we're doing this in the key of D. The 2 chords I should mention are D minor, minor 7, sometimes inadvertently or maybe accidentally, but no big deal. I will play this F sharp, making this D a D7 sharp 9. It's interchangeable, it's jazz, it's whatever. Oftentimes I won't even need this finger at all, and I will have this chord position. I'll be playing the D with my second finger actually, and I realize I'm straying already from my promised bass lines, but maybe this is a good place to start actually. This D with the second finger, and then the notes C and F on strings 3 and 2 with the third and fourth finger. And the reason is that then this finger is free to do these things. And the next chord position that is kind of part of the progression is this G7. And this is without the melody at this point. So I'm playing the G with my first finger, and then the F and B on strings 4 and 3 with my fingers 2 and 3. So they're kind of similar in concept. And actually, in in shape, they are basically identical, but they produce different chords because the intervals between the strings are different. So anyway, so you see, by doing this, you don't have to, if I had to do this, it's a lot more movement, whereas this is a lot smoother. Anyway, back to the bass lines. So while we are on D minor 7, I hit the D, open E, F sharp, and that leads me to the G. D, E, F sharp, and there's that F sharp again, by the way, that I mentioned earlier. Interesting to note that the F sharp is happening while it's still D minor. So what does that mean? Does it make it a D major? I don't ask these questions. The music sounds good. I just go with it. So here's your G7. And similarly, we hit the root and then followed by 3 notes. The B, C, C sharp, which leads back to the D. So if you want to practice this alone, the simplest variation on this is moving the lower line up by 1 octave. So it's the same notes, but an octave higher. So D, E, F sharp, and G. So all these notes now are played on the 4th string as opposed to the 6th string, and then they're an octave higher. And then you can follow that by the same line from before. So now the variation is and if you wanted to, this is not a bad time to try to insert that a little slap there with a thumb. Now these are the notes just played as strict eighth notes, but you can play with those a little bit rhythmically. As I mentioned, I insert this technique of a thumb and a finger, and all it is so I did that, and because I got some 16th notes in there, now I could play with the rhythm a little bit more. Maybe I did more than I really needed to. And I forgot to mention that the simplest line, as it were, is no line at all. So in this case, I just stayed on the note. Or maybe I add the A in there. And now you can play additional lines. I kind of tried to stretch out a little bit and offer some of those. This one goes up, like before, except that it then goes down. So you can do it here, or you can do it here. So or in any other combination. So that's another line you can do instead of this. the idea is simply in all cases to get from D to G, whichever way you can make it, and from G back to D, any way you can make it. So, and then you have 4 notes to make it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. You always want to get to the root on time, and then with whichever notes along the way. So those are some of the combinations. Now, what you may want to try to do is play these chords as we mentioned, and try to use that, throw that line in there. So like this. So you won't be holding it long, you just got to play it once. So that example that I just played is probably where you want to be in terms of, you know, feeling the groove and getting the rhythm going. A little bit more of that, and then we'll start with the melody itself, which is going to be not that hard to do in a sense, because you'll be applying all the elements from above and just inserting that melody, which is not a complicated melody. So. And one thing you may have noticed is I started trying to get a little bit more adventurous there. I actually made a couple of minor mistakes. I didn't feel it was important enough to stop, and that's going to happen, of course, to you. It obviously happened to me. Just, you know, hit a wrong note per chance, and that's okay, because you're taking chances trying to do something that's a little bit new and different to what you just did. So that's definitely a good thing for you to happen. You know, it means that you're trying, but you're also catching. It's like, I made a mistake. So maybe next time you do it, you won't play that whatever wrong note that was. All right, let's get started with the melody. So basically that was our introduction.